So I want to give you an update on the trade war with China.
What's going on today?
Well, it sounds like that China's now saying USA called first. That's what we suspected, right?
Yeah.
This is the official statement. This tariff war was started by the US. China firmly opposes US tariff hikes. Meanwhile, China is open to dialogue, but any dialogue must be based on equality, respect, and mutual benefit. Here's more. To pressure or coerce China in whatever way simply does not work. We will resolutely safeguard our legitimate interests and uphold international fairness and justice. So that's coming from China. Trump denied that USA called first because it was like a game of chicken. You know, whoever calls first comes across as like more desperate. And we told you guys where they.
It's kind of obvious that even yesterday, what's the guy's name?
Percent.
Yeah, the Fox News interview.
Right.
The MC asked who called first, and he didn't really answer.
He's like, oh well. There's no first call. We just make lots of
lots of emails and
It was pretty lame. So then Trump, because I asked him like, hey, did you call first, basically, right? And Trump's response was, they said we initiated. Well, I think we ought to go back and study their files. Okay, that was his answer.
You have to study
their files. Like what are you talking about? So this is a couple things I want to mention. We have a lot of really smart people in our community, and people pointed out a lot of very interesting observations. So one is, what days are the meetings supposed to happen in Switzerland?
It was a weekend, right?
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday. And so that right there tells me it probably wasn't planned, right? Because, I mean, who wants to work on a weekend? Let's be honest. You're going to Switzerland. I want to go skiing,
and
right?
Plus, it's Europe. They just work on work day.
Yeah, right. Let's be real, right? People in Europe, they take these really long vacations.
Yeah.
And weekends are a serious thing. And it's kind of funny because people are making a joke, too, that the USA is going to be like, how can I say, stalking China, and there's going to be sent with the binoculars, like looking, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't know China. I didn't know you went to this grocery store. Wow, what a coincidence. We go to the same grocery store. Like, oh, I didn't know this is like your favorite restaurant. What a coincidence. We happen to be at the same restaurant at the same time.
It's like saying, oh, it's not same.
What's that?
You run into the Elizabeth Warren at the restaurant.
Oh, right.
Just like that.
Gotcha. If you don't know, so I met Elizabeth Warren. She invited me out to a beer, and I actually knew where she was going if I really wanted to stalk her. And it's like, oh, Elizabeth Warren, you just happen to be here, right? So, that kind of stuff. The thing about this whole trade war thing is that it comes across of who's going to give in first, right? So China's basically signaling before any discussion, you got to basically drop your tariffs, or we're not going to talk with you. And we have to decide, one, will we talk at all? And two, what's going to be on the agenda. Now, what's interesting is that Trump is trying to save face, right? Because in my opinion, he's getting embarrassed by China by, like, literally, they're bragging about that the world is coming to USA, but, like, if that were true, why are we going to Switzerland, right? And also, if that were true, why isn't China coming to, the USA's front door?
And now China is talking to Russia, so maybe he's kind of nervous that, that those two countries have a deal or something like that.
It could be. And China could be making, like, well, how can I say? They've been talking about, military stuff, and China's been actually, I won't say threatening India, but I'll just say they want India to, like, stop it with that.
Yeah.
From China's point of view, they actually don't really necessarily, in my opinion, I don't think they really want war between Ukraine and Russia. China just wants to trade with everybody, right? However, if you want to take the more hawkish view, because everyone has different views on what China wants, is they would want USA to be occupied, busy, overextended, so then China can go after Taiwan. Because I would say that is something that China certainly wants to do, is go after Taiwan. The other thing, too, that China wants is Russian energy, right? So that's a couple things. So it's not like China doesn't want anything from Russia, but, obviously that there's...
You take benefit from everywhere.
Yeah, of course. And what's that?
I just, remind that someone, our community mentioned about Google, how they make money.
Oh, yeah. So it was actually funny. Again, we have a smart community. Someone's saying, you pay Google to get your advertising at the top of the results, right? But you also pay Google to do what?
To
block the advertising,
block
right?
the advertising.
So it's actually quite funny because Google is basically, you pay me to like do two different things.
Yeah.
Advertise or not advertise. Either way, you pay me. It's like kind of gangster, right? You pay me for protection or you pay me for like offense, like I guess you want to say it. It's actually kind of funny. Now, Trump made an interesting announcement on his Truth Social. This is what he says. He says there's going to be a like big trade announcement with a big and highly respected country. That's what he was saying. This announcement is likely, and people are saying this announcement is likely just going to be an agreement, not actually a trade deal. And the rumor is going to be UK. Trump wouldn't say who. He's like, I'm going to tell you on Thursday, but it's going to be a big and beautiful country. The UK thing is an interesting one because the reason why I say it's like saving face is because they don't really, what it sounds like, they don't really have a full deal in place. It's going to be like an agreement of this is when we're going to talk. These are some of the things we might talk about, et cetera, but not an actual deal.
Yeah.
So let me give you an idea of what a trade deal looks like, the kind of things that you can talk about. So this would be from the UK and India. This is coming from the BBC. It's actually really interesting. It says here, the UK has lowered taxes on goods imported from India, and there's the different categories. So one, clothing and footwear, right? So what could things be involved in clothing and footwear?
I don't know. Clothing is like, I don't know. It's clothing and fabric,
Right, different types of fabric. So certain materials could be involved with that.
Yeah, like linen, leather, like cotton, silk.
Right, and then you have to think too that the various brands, right, will have a say of like, oh, I want a special deal to get my products into UK, because this is coming from India to UK.
Yeah.
Right. So and then some UK companies would be like, well, wait, we want to keep that Indian, like we really don't want those Indian scarves because that ruins. But I'm just saying, like clothing and footwear alone has a lot of variety of categories there, right? Here's another one: food products, including frozen prawns.
I think prawn is really important.
Yeah, they mentioned it specifically, and it was in the BBC article, and it's like, what the heck? So if you guys are in India or UK, please let me know if, like, say, the prawn industry, so this would be bringing in Indian prawns into the UK market, right? If there's something special with that, it's kind of interesting. They also mentioned jewelry and gems. So again, from India to the UK. And then some cars.
Some car?
Yeah, and
what kind of car from India?
Well, India makes the Tata. Have you ever heard of the Tata? Yeah, most people have it. And actually, whenever I bring up the Tata, all my Indian friends always laugh because like no one's ever heard of the Tata. Tata's like it's kind of like a Mini. It's like a Mini, kind of like okay, it's like the old Mini Coopers. The old ones usually were like really, really small. But today, I think Tata makes all kinds of cars. Today, I think they make, but it used to be, it used to be like a little. They're cute, and
it's good for like city car, grocery car, probably.
Well, if you ever seen any kind of videos of India, like there's like crazy traffic everywhere. So like little car for crazy traffic, and that kind of car would be suitable for like a place like a Bangkok, like a Thailand, like or Vietnam, or various places. So every country has a different needs for these kind of things. And whenever you go through it, so again, this would be from UK is going to lower taxes on these goods from India, but you have to think about like all these different companies will have different sort of demands. So like someone would be like, let's say you're a UK company, you're like, hey, I make athletic shoes or I make scarves or whatever. I don't want that Indian, goods coming in to like rupture our market, or for like, hey, I'm UK and I do prawns, for example. It matters. So that's why these trade deals take a long time. Now let's talk about goods going from UK to India, the type of products that could be involved in a trade deal. It says here, India has cut taxes on goods imported from the UK. So cosmetics.
Oh.
I don't know. Do you know any British brands of cosmetic? Because we don't really get. And that could be, that could just be.
As some Korean, we just mostly use Korean brand.
Korean brands. Well, there's European brands here also, and Japanese brands.
Japanese brand, but K Beauty is we don't really need. We do use it, but mostly the cosmetic from like luxury goods is from France.
Yeah.
Even France brand, their factories in Korea.
Oh, really? and that could be to avoid tariff possibly, right? Here's another one. Again, from UK to India. Scotch whiskey, gin, and soft drinks, right? So again,
yeah, they have good gins and whiskey.
Sure. So again, this gives you an idea of like the kind of trade categories that we're talking about. Also coming from UK to India, higher value cars.
Oh, I see.
So chances are India wants to bring in sort of the low cost cars, like a Tata, something like that. If you guys are familiar with the Tata. Then maybe the UK would send like Aston Martin or something like that. I believe that's a UK brand. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. That's the James Bond car.
Oh.
Aston Martins are cool. They're really cool. You don't see them that much in the USA because maybe the taxes are way too high on them. No, seriously, this is sort of like whenever you travel to different countries, you'll notice different brands because there could be various trade deals are going on. Here, what else? From UK to India, food including lamb, salmon, chocolate, and biscuits of all things. Right? Is this crazy? Like the variety of stuff. Medical devices from UK to India.
Yeah.
Aerospace, that could be planes, satellites. Then that's big money. That's big money. Electric machinery, okay? This also says here, the deal will also allow British firms to compete for more service contracts in India. So, that could be any sort of accounting deal, finance deal, any number of things. And whenever you do these kind of deals, they're a multi-year thing, so it could be over 10 years. So for example, let's say we want to eventually get to 0%, we're at free trade. But year one, we'll say 80%, year two, 70, year three, 60%, and kind of scale it in.
Even no one does a 145% tax next day, one day.
Well, Trump does.
That's why now his whole world is crazy.
Yeah, which gives you an idea of like, well, one is they keep saying, well, we move at Trump speed, and Trump speed is like really fast. But it's not really a good thing because you're basically doing stuff without consulting the business community. And if Trump really is this wonderful business person, the first rule of business is relationships. Don't piss off other companies, other CEOs around you. The way they always portray him at Fox News is that he's the most brilliant, business person of all time. But this is sort of like...
Because no one wants to understand.
Yeah. You just don't understand how much of a master he is, right? They were saying that. And it's funny when they go over this stuff like every day on Fox News. It's just repeated over and over again how awesome Trump is. And so like what I like to do on this channel is guys tell you about how to think about these kind of things, right? Different categories. That's why it takes so much time. Different companies all want to have a say. And then you want to scale it in so people, if you are going to change industry, have time to adjust your business models to make sense. So do you want to hear your thoughts on this? What do you think about Trump, the China thing that may be happening this weekend?
Maybe.
Maybe. And we'll give you more details about Trump is saying he made whatever deal with the UK tomorrow, and we'll go over the details of whatever that's going to be. So do love you guys watching and appreciate your thoughts, and we'll catch you on the next video. So bye.